Good day, chess players. Max Murray here, bringing you another entertaining and instructive miniature chess game of 20 moves or less here on Valentine's Day. This game is from the late great Irving Chernav's book 1000 Best Short Games of Chess, published in 1955, and it features a chess master against a amateur, which are always very instructive. This game is white, the master, Hamlisch, and black is the amateur. Hamlisch began the game with e4, best by test, to which the amateur replied d6. Incidentally, I also play one d6 as black against every possible white setup. I play a system. Hamlisch creates the big pawn center, which is classical style of chess. And now black is definitely cramped with white's pawns controlling many key squares on black's side of the board. Now the way I proceed against this common sequence of moves by white is I play knight to f6, putting pressure on the e4 pawn. White will defend it by playing knight to c3. And then I play e5, immediately trying to grab my share of the center. Now, I'll go ahead and I'll play out the mainline variation here, and it's not what you would expect. One would expect white to play pawn takes pawn, and then I will recapture. Yes, the queens will come off the board, and I lose the right to castle as black. And there is a very dangerous attack against my f7 pawn. I choose to interpose with my bishop. I could also just defend the pawn with my king. Then white captures the bishop, and this is kind of the start of what I call the queenless middle game of my opening setup. And believe it or not, despite how poor the situation looks for black, it is very difficult for white to make progress, come up with a plan against black's position here. And I've played this particular variation with black with great success, and you don't see this variation at the top levels. Instead, white proceeds against my opening setup with knight to f3, bolstering the center. I bring my second knight out because I have to respond to the attack against my e5 pawn. White proceeds by putting the bishop. This is all mainline on the c4 square, attacking here, but I'm just going to be just in time to defend this pawn by playing something like this. And now I'm defending the pawn with my rook. And this is all going to come out in the wash as you see what was played by the amateur against Hamlisch. So let's actually go back to the start of the game and play through the game as in the text in Irving Chernav's book. So e4 is played, as you recall, and then d6, then d4, big center, then knight to d7 was played instead by black instead of what I would have played, knight to f6. Knight to d7 is a book move, but it is not my preferred way to play this position. Hamlisch picked up his bishop and dropped it down onto the c4 square. Now this bishop is extremely dangerous, and that's why I'm all fretting with getting my knight out quickly, playing my dark squared bishop like an old Indian bishop, and castling as quickly as possible to bring a defense to this pawn. Bishop to bishop 4 as white against d6 is a very dangerous move. We actually played other miniature games on my YouTube channel where a whirlwind attack by white against this f7 pawn has proved fatal for the handler of the black pieces. So the next question is, how does black proceed, the amateur? And we have a Pirc. Black intends to bring the bishop to Vienna, the Vienna square. The problem why I don't play the classic Pirc and I stand and prefer the early e7, e5, and bishop to e7 is this is slow. It's slow. And with the Pirc black is going to get a pretty cramped position. Of course, it's completely playable opening, and it's actually far more popular than the early E7, E5 plan that I use. So after G6, Hamlisch proceeds with knight to F3. And now we can see just how dangerous the situation is coming for black. White's pieces and development is as perfect really as you can get as the white player. You have the knight on its most active square. The bishop is safe on a very, very dangerous diagonal. And white has the classic pawn center controlling a lot of squares. Plus, white can castle quickly, bring the rook to the center, and open the position one way or another. A very dangerous situation for black, who's quite constrained here in this position, trying to untangle, if you will. Black proceeds as one would expect by playing bishop to G7, but this move is a blunder. It's funny because when people fianchetto their bishops, they will often throw out, let's say, the G pawn, and then their next move is automatic. They will install the bishop on the fianchetto square of G7. And the thing is, because it's so automatic, they often don't consider tactical replies. So whenever your opponent plays G7 in preparation for doing a fianchetto, you can almost be certain that fianchetto is coming next, even if it's not the right move in the position. And in fact, this move was a big fat blunder in blaring red, according to Stockfish. It gets double exclamation points because the answer is quite vicious. And it is bishop takes pawn check. Now, I warned you all about this weak square. We've been talking about it throughout these miniature games so far on my YouTube channel. Black has nothing really better than to take the bishop. The game is lost either way. White then proceeds. Hamlisch swoops in with killer instinct by playing knight to G5 check. It's checkamos. The black king can not retreat back to his starting block because knight to E7 smothers the queen and wins her. Black cannot retreat to F8 because of similar problems with knight to E6 and a fork again winning the queen. So black has really nothing better than a rather horrific move, king to F6, which is mate in 1. Bang. Checkmate wins the game. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. I certainly enjoy bringing them to you. And once again, happy Valentine's Day from Max Murray Chess.